Would you raise your right hand, please? Do you solemnly swear or affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth? So help you God.
Yes.
You don't need to do a little spiel? Okay. Good morning again,
Good morning.
Mr. Koehle.
Yeah.
Okay. We've met before, you remember that?
I'm sorry.
We have met before, do you remember that?
Yeah, I remember.
Okay. So today, I'm going to be taking your deposition for the second time. And do you remember the ground rules that we discussed last time regarding the deposition?
Yeah, wait till you finish the question.
Okay, you're a good student. All right. Are you under the influence of any medication or any drugs or any substance of any type that would affect your ability to testify truthfully and honestly?
No.
Okay. Are you taking any medication whatsoever today?
Yes.
Before you get to that, can you state your full name for the record?
Michael Koehle, Koehle.
Okay. What medication are you taking currently?
Gabapentin and ibuprofen.
What are you taking the gabapentin for?
For my ear, the nerves in my, or used to be my ear. It's supposed to be the gabapentins for the nerves and the ibuprofens for the headaches.
And when you say nerves, are these medications for pain?
They're more to numb the nerves because the nerves here, my whole head, this side of my head now feels like it's just getting stretched all the time. It's like it's doing this, and that's why I have headaches constantly here and on this side.
Okay. Are you taking any other medication for any other reason at this time?
I do take some depression medication, but I couldn't tell you the name of them.
Is it Zoloft?
Yeah, it is Olaf, yeah.
Any other medication that you're taking for any reason?
Just blood pressure pills.
What's the name of that medication?
I don't know. All I know is a little bitty one. I don't know the name. My VA doctor subscribed them to me. My blood pressure was a little high the last time.
Any other medications?
No.
How often do you take the ibuprofen?
I take one a day.
Every day?
Yep.
How often do you take the gabapentin?
2 every 4 hours.
Every day?
Yep.
How often do you take the Zoloft for depression?
Once a day.
Every day?
Yep.
How often do you take the blood pressure medication?
Once a day.
Every day?
Yes.
And these medications that we just discussed, particularly the medication for the headaches and the nerve issues, how long have you been taking those medications?
Ever since I got hurt.
Okay. And how long have you been taking the depression medication?
Probably about 6 months after I got hurt.
Had you been prescribed medication for depression prior to the incident?
No, I'm just, I can't do the work I used to do, so I got depressed about it, and I went and saw a psychiatrist, and he said, well, this should calm me down, so that's why I'm taking that.
Let me make sure you understand my question. Prior to the accident that happened on November 1, 2013,
Right.
did any doctor prescribe you medication for depression?
No.
And you're sure about that?
Yep.
So if your medical records indicated that you've been on medication for depression, what would you have to say about that?
They won't show it.
Okay. And if it shows it, the doctors are wrong, correct?
Yeah, I just started taking Zoloft in the last 6 months.
My question is whether you've ever been given medication for depression, whether it's Zoloft or anything else. prior to the accident?
No, not prior to the accident, no.
Okay. And the blood pressure medication, for how long have you been taking that?
Last time I saw my doctor was almost 4 months ago, so about 4 or 5 months.
No. Okay. Let me put it this way. Prior to the incident, which occurred on November 1, 2013, had you been taking medication for high blood pressure?
I had a couple of times, but then I lost a bunch of weight, and they took me off of it.
When you say couple of times, what do you mean?
Well, I mean, I don't have my medical records in front of me, but it was in Atlanta. I went to my regular, checkup every 6 months. I get a checkup, and the guy said, "Well, your blood pressure's high. You take blood pressure meds." Well, the next time I went to a checkup, my blood pressure was fine. So he said, "Well, you don't need to take that anymore."
Okay. So prior to the accident, which was in November 2013, for how long would you say you had been on blood pressure medication?
Off and on, probably 3 years.
So that's what you mean by a short amount of time, 3 years?
Well, just, I mean, for me, that's, and it wasn't the whole time period. It wasn't the whole time. It was, I'd take it and go back to the doctor, and then he told me, "Well, you don't need to take it anymore. Your blood pressure's fine."
Okay, so on and off for 3 years.
Yeah.
Okay. Have you ever been known by any aliases?
No, just Mike.
Okay. Where do you currently reside?
Right now I'm at 1325 Riva, RIVA Circle,
What's the city?
Panama City. Well, it's Callaway, Panama City, same thing. 32404.
How long have you lived there?
I just moved there about 3 or 4 months ago.
Do you own or rent?
Rent.
Who do you live there with?
I live with my girlfriend,
What's her name?
Debbie Fields.
Anyone else?
Yeah, Dustin Hopkins. He's the owner of the house.
Do you rent a room?
No, I just rent. I just pay him rent. He works out of town a lot, so he just needed somebody to basically house sit. So I just basically took over his house payment and paid the rent.
Okay. Where did you live prior to 1325 Riva Circle?
254 apartment C, North Bertha Avenue.
North?
Bertha.
Bertha?
Yep. Same zip code.
Okay. And how long do you live there?
Year and a half.
With who?
Excuse me?
With who?
Just my girlfriend, Debbie Fields.
Okay. How long have you been dating Debbie Fields?
We've been together for 14 years.
Not married, I take it, since you
No.
said girlfriend?
Might as well be.
Okay. Have you lived anywhere else other than in Panama City?
I've lived in Atlanta.
Where in Atlanta?
I forget what. I couldn't give you an address because it's so far back.
Sorry. Not sure what that alarm was. When did you live in Atlanta?
I was trying to make more money.
No, when?
When? It was about 2001, I think, or late 2000 till 2010. That's when I moved back to Panama City.
Okay. And when you lived in Atlanta, who did you live with?
I was a maintenance man slash manager of a golf complex.
Okay, before we get to what you did, who did you live with there?
Myself,
You didn't live with Debbie there.
no,
Okay.
not the whole time. I ended up living with her, but not when I first got there. I lived by myself.
Okay. Where were you born?
Elvagen, Germany.
Okay. What's your current cellular phone number?
Excuse me?
What's your cell phone number?
850-866-2214.
What cell phone provider do you have?
You got
What cell phone provider do you have?
Verizon.
On the day of the incident, and when I refer to the day of the incident, I'm referring to the incident that happened at Port Panama City
Right.
on November 1, 2013. You understand that?
Yeah.
Okay. So on the day of the incident, did you have this same cell phone number and carrier?
No, I don't think so. No. I was with Boost back then.
Same number?
No.
Do you remember the number?
No.
Do you have that number somewhere at home written down or that you can locate?
The only one that I know that we've kept over the years is 850-358-9207, and that's my girlfriend's number. I think we might have took it with us when I went to Verizon.
Okay.
Because at that time, all we had was one phone, and now we have two.
And this would have been with Boost Mobile as well?
The 358 number
Yes.
was with Boost Mobile.
Okay. What's your date of birth?
7/21/61.
How old does that make you?
56. Yeah.
And I'm going to ask you for your social, but I'm going to go off the record for you to give it to me. So just 1 second. Do you have a driver's license?
Yes.
Do you drive?
Yes.
Do you drive here today?
Yes.
Do you have a copy of your driver's license?
Excuse me?
Do you have your driver's license? Okay. Can you just take it out so I can see the back? Alright, so for the record, his driver's license number is K400 54061 2610. Okay, thank you. Do you have any siblings that reside here in Panama City?
Excuse me?
Do you have any siblings?
Yes, but she lives in Pensacola.
Okay. What's her name?
Ellen Meyer.
What does Ellen do?
She's a CPA. Well, she's a executive CFO for some company she works for.
You don't know the name of the company?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Any other siblings?
No, my brother passed away when he was 35, so
Okay.
parents had passed away too, so
Okay. How do you spell Meyer?
Meyr.
Okay. Ever been married?
Twice.
When did you first get married?
When I was 19 in Georgetown, South Carolina.
And how long were you married for?
6 months.
What was the reason for the divorce?
I don't know how to say it. Let's just say she was cheating.
Okay. What was her name?
Melissa Jones.
And when did you get married again?
88, I think. Yeah, 87 or 88 in Germany while I was in the Army.
How long were you married for?
Till 1995.
And why did you get divorced?
She was a drunk.
Was she also in the army?
No,
What was
she's German.
Oh, okay. And do you have any children?
One son.
Where does he reside?
Excuse me?
Where does he live?
He lives in Germany.
Who's his mother?
My ex-wife.
Which one?
Excuse me?
Which one?
The first, not the second one.
What was her name?
Sabina, and don't ask me her last name because I can't remember.
Okay.
His name's Christopher Siegfried Koehle.
Do you have a relationship with your son?
With Christopher, yes. We talk on the phone. I can't afford to fly to Germany every other month. But I didn't hear from him until she took off with him when he was 3 years old. And I didn't hear from him again until he turned 18 and moved out. Okay. And then he called me. He found me because I couldn't find him.
Okay. Any other family in Florida? Sorry. Any other family in Florida?
Just a niece, my sister's daughter.
And where does she live?
With my sister.
In Pensacola?
Yes.
What's her name?
Christina.
Last name?
Same as my sister, Meyer.
Have you ever been involved in a lawsuit prior to this case?
No.
Have you ever sued anyone?
No.
Has anyone ever sued you?
No.
Have you ever made a claim for workers' compensation?
No.
Okay.
Prior to this?
Prior to this?
Yeah, no.
Okay. Have you ever been arrested?
Yes.
For what?
I've been arrested twice for DUI. And once I forgot I could grab a pair of sunglasses and put them on my head, and I walked out the door and they arrested me for shoplifting.
All right, let me talk about the DUI. When was the first one?
1983.
Second one?
2001.
Were you convicted of these charges?
The first one, yes. The second one, no.
What happened with the second one?
I don't know. Wisconsin messed it up. I don't know. I just ended up paying a $50 fine, and that was the end of it. So I really don't know what happened with that one.
Okay. So for the one in 83, were you driving?
I was I was driving a motorcycle.
Okay. All
What
right.
are you driving?
And where was this arrest?
Fort Stewart, Georgia.
Fort what?
Stewart.
And the second one, where was that?
I forget the name. It was in Wisconsin. It was a little bitty old town out in the middle of nowhere. I think it was Rockford or something like that.
What were you doing in Wisconsin?
I was driving an 18-wheeler.
Was that for a job?
Yeah, well, I dropped off my load, or I was supposed to pick up a load the next morning, and I parked in a Kmart there, and I got some beer, and some old lady didn't like the way I parked and called the police. they put me in jail. Like I said, it's like a little old town in the middle of nowhere. So.
Who were you working for driving an 18-wheeler?
Covenant.
Who?
Covenant.
Covenant. What type of company is that?
It's a Covenant they do a big trucking company.
Were you working directly for Covenant, or
Yes.
were you placed there through another company?
No, I was working for Covenant. That's who was sending me my money.
How did you get the job? Did you apply at Covenant?
Well, I went to truck driving school, and then I applied for several different companies, and they're the ones that offered me the job. So I went to Tennessee and went through their school, and then they put me in a truck.
Okay. What happened with that job after the arrest?
Well, I had an emergency in Atlanta, and I just quit.
What sort of emergency did you have in Atlanta?
That's when I moved to Atlanta.
But you said an emergency.
Yes. Well, it was a family emergency.
Okay. All right. The shoplifting charge, when was that?
It was in the same year, same time frame when I was driving the truck.
2001?
Yeah.
And where was the arrest? What state?
Illinois.
And what happened with that charge?
I paid a $300 fine.
So were you convicted?
Excuse me?
Were you convicted?
No, I just paid $300 and that was it.
Okay. Any other arrests?
Not that I can think of. I mean, I've gotten some trouble. I got some fines when I lived in Tampa. But there was one would drive. I switched tags on my cars, and I got pulled over for that. But I went to jail and I got out, and then about 2-3 hours later I was out. Just paid a fine. So yeah, I guess that you can call that an arrest.
Okay. When were you living in Tampa?
Probably 97 to 99, maybe. Yeah.
Okay. In connection with the 83 DUI, did you have to spend time in jail?
No, just one night.
And for the 01 DUI, did you have to spend time in jail?
One night.
And the shoplifting charge?
I was out 3-4 hours later.
Okay. Do you currently have health insurance?
The VA.
Other than the VA, any other insurance for
Well,
medical?
No, because the VA, besides the program they have, we have a choice to go see a doctor if it takes too long to see a doctor. I got this little medical card, but it all goes through the VA.
Can I see your medical card? All right, and just for the record, Mr. Koehle's member ID for the VA card is 10605319558. Okay. Do you have
See, there's my other VA card right there.
okay. All right. Okay. So other than, how long have you had this VA insurance?
Shoot, 17, 18 years.
And during this 17 to 18 year time period, that's the only insurance you would have had as far as health insurance.
Excuse me?
During the 17, 18 year period that
Right.
you had the VA insurance, that was the only insurance that you had for health. Is that accurate?
Yes.
Okay. Do you have auto insurance currently?
No.
So you're at this time driving uninsured?
No, I got a car insurance.
Yeah, okay. Car, auto. Do you have
Okay,
car
yeah,
insurance?
yeah, I have a car insurance.
Okay. What is the name of your insurer?
Allstate.
How long have you had Allstate?
Going on 2 years.
Prior to Allstate, which insurance did you have for your
Progressive.
car? For how long did you have them?
6 or 7 years.
And prior to Progressive, what auto insurance did you have?
Oh Lord, I can't remember that.
Okay. What type of car do you drive now?
Pathfinder, Nissan Pathfinder.
The color?
Gold.
At the time of the incident, did you have the same car?
Yes.
Do you have Medicaid?
No.
Have you ever had Medicaid?
No.
Do you receive disability benefits from the VA?
Not disability, no.
Do you receive any sort of benefit from the VA?
Pension.
How much do you receive?
1,073 a month.
For how long have you been receiving pension benefits from the VA?
Since 2010, I think, either 2009 or 2010.
Do you receive any other sort of monetary benefit from the VA?
No.
Do you receive any other sort of benefit or income from any government program or any other program?
No.
Are you currently receiving monthly income from as a result of the incident?
No.
Were you receiving either weekly or monthly income at some point in time after the incident?
No.
Did you ever receive any checks from your insurance carrier with respect to actually strike that? Did you ever receive any checks from any entity since the incident?
Just workman's comp.
Or what did you receive?
Shoot. They were sending me it was like almost $300 a week until, and I don't remember exactly how long it was. It was maybe 3 months until the doctor said I could do light duty work, and then they cut me off.
So it's your testimony that you only received a weekly check in connection with the incident for 3 months?
And I can't tell you exact amount of time, but I'm just guessing it was about 3 months
How did you get that check?
in the mail.
Okay.
And I also received $4,000 for the loss of my ear, and I forget how much it was for the loss of the hearing. I think altogether, the final settlement with workman's comp was like $47,000, something like that.
Was that a lump sum payment or over
No, it was a
time?
lump sum at the end of when we closed it out.
Okay. That's what you received.
Yes.
Do you have any other source of income?
I drive a cab.
Okay, I'm gonna get to your employment shortly. But any other source of income from any other entity?
No, that's it.
Okay. All right. Are you currently employed?
Yeah, I drive a cab.
Who do you drive a cab for? Who's your employer?
Freedom Cab.
Does Freedom Cab give you a car to drive?
Yes.
What kind of car?
It's a Toyota Sienna.
So you don't do cab driving with your Nissan?
No, I couldn't because it's too old.
All right. Okay. All right. How long have you been employed with Freedom Cab?
Since February, but I drove a cab. This is my third company.
I'm going to get to all of that.
Okay.
So with Freedom, February 2017 to present?
February, yeah.
February of this year to the present time.
Yeah, that's about right.
You're still employed with Freedom.
Yes.
Okay. How do you get paid for driving a cab with Freedom?
I make 60% of what the car makes.
All right. And are you an independent contractor?
No.
Employee?
I'm just an employee. I mean, we just settle up every Monday. You know, he brings me, if he owes me money, he brings me money. And if I owe him money, I give him money. It's all cash.
Who's your supervisor or who's the owner of the company?
David, and I couldn't even think to spell his last name without me having his card. All I can tell you is the owner of the company's name is David.
Okay. How do you get passengers? Do you park in a certain spot? Do people
Airport.
call you? Okay. So you park at the airport, and when people come out.
Yeah, and they need a ride. You know, we stay in, get in line, and you wait.
What days do you work? What's your schedule?
Just about every day.
What hours?
From 6 to 6, usually at least 12 hours a day.
So if you weren't here today, would you be at the airport?
I'd be at the airport. I'd had to go pick up somebody at 10 o'clock.
Okay. And do you go to the airport every day regardless of what flights are coming or going?
Well, it's hard to explain it. You know, it's you go to the airport in the morning, and then some days I just call David and say, "Look, I need to take a day or two off," and that's how we work. You know, but my schedule is supposed to be from 6 till at least the 5 o'clock plane comes in, and then on Sundays I go in and get one ride and I go home.
Okay.
So there's really no set schedule there.
Okay. Do you have a W-9 or a 1099? Do you know, or what?
I haven't done taxes with him yet, and the last company didn't send me a 1099, and the one before that didn't send me a 1099.
Okay. So what would you say? You've been working there for, I don't know, 8 months or so. What's your monthly income, you would say, on average?
Well, I'm gonna have to go with a range on that because it depends. I mean, I'll go about a week. Sometimes I make 200, then sometimes I make 500 a week. You know, it just depends on, what's happening on the beach.
So there isn't a set income that you
No.
would take home every week?
No.
Are there some weeks since you've been working at Freedom that you've made less than 200 a week?
Oh yeah. And there's more sometimes that I make more than 500
Okay. How do you keep track of your income? Do you keep track of it?
in my head.
Your memory's that good?
Well, I'm a math. I've always been good at math,
Okay.
so I know pretty much what what I'm gonna make.
Okay. Do you have a contact number for David?
It's 850-339-7395.
All right. Okay. So before Freedom Cab, where were you employed?
Lemon cab.
Lemon, Lemon?
Yep.
And you were employed there obviously as a taxi driver as well?
Right.
And did you also work out of the airport?
Yep.
So it was the same type of
Same
situation?
thing. Same thing. Yep.
Okay. When did you work there?
I guess from like August of 2016 till February 2017. That's when I switched over to Freedom,
Why'd you switch?
because me and the owner of the lemon cab didn't get along.
Why didn't you get along?
He's Russian.
And what does that mean?
Well, he just got his standards, and I couldn't live up to them according to him.
What were his standards?
Well, I guess I wasn't making enough money.
Okay.
Plus, the split changed. I was only making 50% of what the car made there, and David offered me 60%. So that's why I switched.
Okay, so did you quit?
Yes.
What was the name of the owner?
Sadim, and don't ask me his last name because I don't know it.
Sadim. Do you know his number?
It's if I'd have brought my badge in, I could have told you, but no, I can't remember his.
Okay. And at that cab company, what would you say you made a week on average?
About the same as I would made with Freedom.
200 to 500 a week, give or take.
Yeah.
Prior to Lemon Cab, where did you work?
Affordable taxi.
When did you work there?
When I go back to work, it was after the accident. Took a year and a half. Must have been 2015 till August 2016,
And why did you leave Affordable Taxi?
because I needed a company that would let me take the car home. Affordable, I had to turn the car back in every night, and I didn't have the transportation means because my girlfriend needed to go to my car to work. So it was just a convenience thing.
So you quit that job as well?
Yeah.
What did you make weekly with Affordable Taxi?
They're all the same, ma'am.
And who was your supervisor or the
Norm.
owner there?
Norm.
Norm?
Norm, yeah.
You don't know his last name either.
No. But I know the phone number.
Okay, great. What is it?
850-233-0029.
All right. Prior to Affordable Taxi, where did you work?
Whew. Well, I got hurt. That was back to labor ready. Yeah, we're going back to labor ready because that was the first job I took after I got hurt.
Okay. So before Affordable Taxi, you worked with Labor Ready?
Yeah, when I got hurt.
And that was Labor Ready in Panama City?
Yes.
How did that job work with Labor Ready?
Excuse me?
Tell me about that job with Labor Ready. How
Well,
did
I
it
mean,
work?
you just went in every morning at 5:30, and they would place you on somewhere to go to work.
So was Labor Ready a staffing company?
Yes.
Okay. And when you said you go there at 5:30 and they place you somewhere to work, where did you ask for a particular type of job? Where do they place you to work?
No, you just went in there and signed in and waited till they called your name, and then you would go wherever they needed you.
Okay. And what if you didn't want to, when you got assigned to some place to work, would they then say, Mr. Koehle, you've been assigned to work at Manuel Thompson?
No, well, they
How
said
does it work?
that they really just said, here, you go there to this address and report to this guy, and that'd be it.
Okay. And did you have to agree to do that?
Well, sure we did. I mean, we needed money. We had to go to work, you know.
So what if you didn't want to go to wherever the place was that
Well,
they told you to go to?
You don't do that. You don't understand the concept of labor places like that.
Explain the
You don't tell them no, because if you tell them no one time, they're not going to send you out on any other jobs. You might as well just say, okay, I quit.
Okay. But you can tell them no.
You can tell them that, yes.
Okay. All right. So how do they tell you, go to X or Y place? Do you get something in your hand, or how does it work?
Well, it said you're going out here to do some construction cleanup, or going out here to be a framer. You know, if you have the tools, they'll send you to do framing on houses. Just straight out construction work. But mostly it was construction cleanup, and maybe going to go dig a ditch for somebody. There's no telling what you're going to get sent out with them.
Do they give you a paper with that information, or they just tell you
No, they
to
just
go?
tell you it's a ticket they give you and has your name on it and a supervisor, or they I don't even know that it has a supervisor's name on it, but because I never paid much attention to them. I just took the ticket and they said, well, go here and here and report to this guy, and that's it.
Okay. How long did you work for Labor Ready in Panama City?
Well, the accident happened in November, so I think it was beginning of the summer. Yeah. Oh, I did work for somebody else too between Labor Ready and that. I just thought of that. But it was around probably April or May that I started back with Labor Ready.
So April or May of 13?
No, I didn't work again for.
Okay, let me.
Yeah, you're getting me
back up.
confused now.
Okay, I certainly don't want you to be confused. When did you begin working for Labor Ready in Panama City?
I think it was October of 2015. Off and on, I think it was. You're going back years now.
Okay, hold on. Your incident happened in November of 2013, correct?
Oh, yeah, that's right.
Okay. when did you begin working with Labor Ready?
Oh, okay. That was so. I'm way past that. It would have been 2012.
Okay. So 2012 until the time of the accident, which was November 13th.
Right.
And then did you subsequently begin working with Labor Ready again after your accident?
For light duty.
When?
Uh, it was after Christmas. No, shoot, it was later than that. It had to been the very beginning of, I think, February.
Of
It
what
was
year?
Beginning of February, 2017. No, not 2017. See, 2016. I got hurt in November.
No, 13.
Oh, 13. Oh, okay. So I stayed out of work for at least a year and a half from recovering from the accident. So that had made it 2014. Probably October of 2014.
Until when?
Excuse me?
Until what time? When did you stop working with Labor Ready the second time?
No, that's wrong. See, you got me confused. I got hurt in November. I went back to work in February of 2014. And then I only worked for about 3 weeks. And they fired me.
All right. Why did they fire you?
Because there was some dispute at the paper mill. Once again, they called me to come into work at 6 o'clock to do a night shift for the paper mill shutdown. And I went to work, and I'd already been at home all day, and I drank a beer, and the guy smelled beer on me, and he reported it, and then they let me work 6 days. When the assignment was complete, they fired me.
What was the name of the company that you were working for?
Wellco.
Wellco?
Yeah.
Do you remember the name of your supervisor?
No. That's who Labor Ready had me staffed, where I was staffed at.
Right. Okay. So going back to Labor Ready, during the number of years that you've worked for them on and off, have you worked at different companies?
Well, after Labor Ready fired me, I worked for Snelling.
Before I get to that one, Labor Ready, I'm talking about
Oh,
Labor
you're
Ready.
going way back.
Yes. During the time you were working with Labor Ready, did they assign you to work at many different companies?
Yes.
Okay. Who are some of the companies that you were placed to work for?
Really, honestly, I can't tell you.
Okay, but you told me Wellco, correct?
Wellco was the paper mill shut down.
Okay. Where else did you work? For what other companies?
Well, I worked as a framer on the beach, and it wasn't a company. It was just two guys building a house.
Okay. Where else?
And I worked construction cleanup at a McDonald's. I mean, there's all kind of little places they sent me to.
Where else? Where else?
Just wherever Labor Ready sent me while I was working. I can't remember every one, ma'am. That's way too far back for me.
Which ones do you remember? You told me
The
Wellco,
McDonald's.
McDonald's. Where else? Framer on the beach. Where else?
There was some by the Eastern Marine shipyard. There was a company out there that wanted me to clean the yards out, and or one of the labor ready, one of the labor ready for a few days. I mean, I really can't remember all the little jobs they sent me to, ma'am.
You don't remember working at Port Panama City?
Oh yeah, I
Oh.
worked there twice.
Okay, so why didn't you mention that one?
Oh, because that was, I thought that was all in the incident report. It's not that I didn't remember it.
Okay.
It was just I thought it was common information.
No. During this proceeding, nothing is common information.
Okay.
I only know what you tell me.
Oh, okay.
If you don't tell me, I assume you
Okay.
forgot or
No, it
you're
wasn't that I forgot. I ain't never gonna forget
concealing it.
that.
Okay. So you worked at Panama City, Port Panama City twice. Who did you work for?
I don't remember the guy's name.
What was the name of the company or companies?
Well, it's Tri-State now.
And who else?
I don't know if there was another company. I mean, I worked for Labor Ready. They're the ones that sent me out there.
Okay. I got past that. I'm asking you where they put you to work.
Oh, first time was on the dock,
Okay.
and the second time was in the warehouse.
And when you worked at the dock and in the warehouse, who were you working for?
Well, on the dock, we were pretty much unsupervised. I mean, they just told us one guy just come up and told us, okay, go over there, and as the pilots come off the ship, just unhook the thing and then tell the crane to go away. And the forklifts would come and get the copper. In the warehouse, I was working for some woman in there.
Okay. And so when you were working on hooking the ships, was that for Tri-State?
Yes, same company.
And when you were working in the warehouse, it was also for Tri-State?
Yes.
So on both occasions that you worked at Port Panama City, it was with Tri-State?
Yes.
Okay. Did you have the same supervisor when you worked on the dock as when you worked in the warehouse?
No.
When you worked in the warehouse, who told you what to do?
Well, I don't know her name. All I know, she was a little short, skinny woman.
And she was employed with Tri-State?
I guess. I don't know for sure.
And when you worked on the dock, who was telling you what to do?
I couldn't tell you. There was some guy that said, okay, you guys go over there and just unhook, when the crane drops it down, unhook it, and take it off, and it was pretty self-explanatory.
Okay. So whatever work you were doing on the dock, you don't know who told you to do it, but you understood what to do?
Basically, yes.
And with respect to the warehouse work, the short, skinny woman who told you what to do, you understood what you were doing?
Right.
All right. In between the time that you were working with Labor Ready and before you went to the taxi cab, you were telling me you were working somewhere else. What company was that?
Snelling.
And what type of company is Snelling?
It's a staffing company.
Okay. And so is that the same, or tell me how that worked. How did you come to get jobs?
Well, they just assigned me to the Bay County or Panama City work crew. Well, all we did was go around, weed eat, and cut grass. It's like landscaping work.
And did you do that for particular companies or?
No, it was all for the Panama City.
Okay. Who told you how to do that job? Someone that worked with Panama City?
Well, John was the guy that drove the truck. And I mean, it's, cut grass, weed eat, pick up trash, pretty common sense type of work.
And John was an employee of the city,
Yeah.
Panama City?
Yeah.
He's the one that told you you're going to be doing X,
Yeah,
Y, or
because
Z.
we rode in his truck. So he knew where to go. He'd say, well, we need to get this area cleaned up, and that's what we do.
With respect to your work at Snellen, how did you get paid?
Weekly check from Snelling.
Okay. So you got a check from the staffing company even though you were working for the city.
Yes.
How much was that weekly check?
I think it was 302.
A week?
Yeah.
Okay. And then during the time you were working with Labor Ready, how did you get paid?
From Labor Ready every day.
Okay. So even though you went to work for different entities or people,
Right.
you got paid by Labor Ready.
Yes.
And you said you get paid daily?
Yes.
How much a day?
It depends on what the people that hired Labor Ready was, what their hourly pay rate was. You know, it could be anywhere from 60 to $100 a day. Especially, you know, if you drove a crew out to a job site, they'd pay you extra.
Okay. When you went out to these various job sites with both Labor Ready and Snellen, was it Labor Ready that told you how to do whatever job you were doing, or was it the people at the various job sites?
No, it was whoever was on site.
Because the staffing company people were not on site at the various places, correct?
No.
Okay. Any other jobs we haven't covered in the past, say, 10 years?
How many?
In the past 10 years.
Well, let me go back. I moved here back in 2010, so 2007, I was working with at Pogue for Pogue Mechanical.
For who? What's the name of that?
Pogue, P-O-A-G, Mechanical,
Okay.
in Jasper, Georgia.
And why did you leave that job?
Well, me and the supervisor got in an argument and I quit.
What was the argument about?
Him mistreating employees.
Okay. Why did you leave Snellen?
Because my doctor said I needed to stop using my shoulders so much.
Okay. So you quit?
Yeah. Well, I went in there with the doctor's papers and said, look, I'm not supposed to lift more than 15 pounds. And that's not going to work trying to do landscaping. So,
So you said you were fired from Welco because there was the supervisor.
Welco didn't fire me.
Good point. You said you were fired. Well, actually, you said the guy, your supervisor at Welco,
Yeah,
smelled beer
Right.
on you, correct?
right.
And did the guy who is your supervisor at Welco tell you not to come back?
No.
Who told you not to come back?
Well, after I got hurt, they put me on that, and they let me work the whole shutdown because it happened the first time I showed up there, and it was late in the evening, and I'd already had a beer. But anyway, I worked the whole shutdown, 6 or 7 days, and then I went back to work at Labor Ready, cleaning the office and stuff, because that was my limitations. You know, that's what the doctor had me on. And they said, well, we got to let you go because the guy said he smelled a beer on you. And I said, well, why are you firing me now? Why'd you let me work the shutdown?
Okay.
Go about an hour, so whenever you get to a good stopping point, take a break.
We can stop now. At Pogue Mechanical, what type of work were you doing?
Plumbing.
And why did you say you quit?
Me and the supervisor,
Okay.
I complained to the supervisor about his way he was treating his employees.
And how much did you get paid there?
$14.50 an hour.
For how many hours?
Minimum 40 a week. Excuse me.
Do you smoke cigarettes?
Yes.
How many cigarettes a day do you smoke?
Pack.
For how long?
30 years.
Have any of your doctors told you to stop smoking?
Yes.
What have they said?
Excuse me.
What have they said?
You need to quit.
Why?
Didn't say just you need to quit.
Have you tried to quit?
Yes.
What about alcohol? Do you drink daily?
I drink beer.
You drink beer every day?
Yeah, I usually have a beer with when I get home from work.
Is beer the only thing that you drink?
Yes.
And is it your testimony that you only drink one beer a day?
No, I probably drink 3 or 4.
Every day?
No, not every day.
How often a week?
On the weekends, and then I guess 3 days a week. 5 days a week, something like that. 3 to 5 days a week.
Do you have a history of alcoholism?
No, well, in my family, my dad.
Have any doctors told you that you drink too much?
I guess I'd have to say yes to that.
Okay. And which doctors have told you that?
Just VA doctor.
Have you admitted to any of these doctors at the VA that you drink a lot?
Yes.
Would you say you're an alcoholic?
No.
Did you drink beer or anything else before coming here today?
No.
So if I smelled alcohol, would I just be crazy?
No. You probably smell the cough syrup I've been taking.
Smell what?
The cough syrup.
Okay. Do you recall telling any doctors that you drink a 6-pack 2 to 3 times a week of beer?
I probably have, yes.
Do you recall telling any doctor that you drink anywhere from 6 to 12 beers a day?
I might have told him that, yeah.
Okay. So is it accurate that you in the past or currently drink 6 to 12 beers a day?
Not every day.
But some days.
Some days, yes.
And that's still true today?
Yes.
Okay. Are you aware that the doctors at the VA, as you call it, have said you suffer from chronic alcoholism?
No.
Do you recall your doctors from the VA telling you that your alcohol consumption affects your other medical issues, high blood pressure, hypertension?
No, they never told me that.
Do you agree that you have an alcohol dependence?
I like to drink my beer at night when I go home.
Okay. You don't only drink beer at night, though. You sometimes drink it in the day. Is that
Not when
right?
I'm driving a cab.
What about when you're not driving a cab?
Well, I drive a cab just about every day.
Okay. But you weren't always driving a cab. That's a
Before then, I couldn't do any work after I got hurt. I drank pretty heavy back then.
What about before you got hurt? You drank pretty heavy then too?
No, not because I was working.
So when you go to work, you don't typically drink before you go to work.
No.
Okay. Do you recall your doctors at the VA trying to get you into alcohol counseling?
No.
Have you ever done any alcohol counseling?
Back when I went to college for a semester, I went to alcohol counseling for 30 days because I stayed drunk for 3 months.
So you were drunk for 3 months in college?
Hmm.
Is that a yes?
Yeah,
Why were you drunk for 3 months?
because I got out of high school and was a teenager, and just put me in a co-ed dorm with a bunch of women.
And what does that mean?
Excuse me?
What does that mean?
That means that instead of being at home at night, I was in a dorm in Columbia, South Carolina. It was just a big party the whole time. That's all it was.
Okay. Have you ever gone while working for Labor Ready at Labor Ready's various customers? Have you ever gone to work under the influence of alcohol?
No.
And just so I'm clear, have you ever gone to work after having drank 1, 2, 3, or 6 beers?
Well, no, not 6. I mean, that one time when I went to Welco, but I didn't even know I was supposed to work that night.
Okay, but excluding Welco.
No, not before I went to work.
Okay. When you were working at Port Panama City with Tri-State, did you ever go to work having been under the influence of alcohol?
No.
On the day of your incident, which was November 1, 2013, did you go to work under the influence of alcohol?
No.
Did you have any beers or any other alcohol that morning before you went to work?
No.
Do you remember telling one of your doctors that you drink 3 beers to get your day started?
No, I don't remember telling him that. anybody that.
All right. In connection with this lawsuit, are you claiming that you've lost any income?
Yes, because I can't do the work I used to do.
How much income do you contend you have lost?
Well, it was a year and a half that I didn't work at all. And now, I mean, taxis business is here and there, you know. I was making $600-700 a week when I was, you know, doing construction work.
And when you said you were making $600 a week doing construction work, was that while you were working with Labor Ready?
No,
When?
no. That was before that. At Pogue, when I was a plumber, we were doing 70 hours a week. And
Okay,
there,
but plumbing and construction are two different types of
well,
work.
no, because we were doing new plumbing. We were installing in new buildings. It's still considered construction work.
Okay, so when you say you were making $600 a week, at which job were you making $600 a week?
Well, we were Pogue Mechanical.
Any other job?
When I was working for myself, I was making more money than that as a handyman. And I mean, that's just the average, you know.
Okay, so when were you working for yourself? Because you didn't tell me that part.
Off and on since I got out of service. You know, it just depends. You know, I was a manager, just off and on since I've been out of the Army. Now I got out in '94.
Okay, so since you got out of the Army, you obviously had other jobs with Labor Ready,
Right.
with Pogue, with Snelling.
Yes.
When you were working at these jobs, were you working on and off for yourself as well?
Yeah, on the weekends.
Okay. And so with respect to the Pogue job, you quit that job, correct?
Yes.
You didn't leave that job because of the incident, correct?
No.
Okay. And so since you quit that job and began working at Labor Ready and at Snelling, how much were you making a week?
Oh, before I started with Labor Ready? After Pogue, between Pogue and Labor Ready?
All right, let's start over. What years were you working at Pogue?
98 till 2000. No, hold on, that's wrong. It was 2009 till 2010.
Okay, and then where were you working at from 2010 to 2012 when you started at Labor Ready?
I wasn't. My mother had Alzheimer's. I had to take care of her.
And then when were you working at Snelling?
It was after, I think it was like in March of 2016. No, it would have been. I got hurt in 2013. I got fired at the beginning of 2016. So it would have been until August of Snelling of that year.
Tell me that again. What time period?
Well, I mean, I just truthfully, I don't know the exact time frame. Okay.
What is the question?
When did he work at Snelling?
About three or 4 months.
In what year?
When did I get fired from Labor Ready?
You said February of 2014.
20 what?
2014.
Well, then it would have been in that year. It would have been in that summer, because it wasn't long, about a month after they fired me, that I started working for Snelling with the city.
Okay. All right. So I need to go back to the wages you claim you lost. As a result of the incident that happened in November 2013, how do you compute wages you claim to have lost?
I haven't computed them. I just, all I know is I couldn't work for almost a year. Yeah, because I went back to work, I think, at the beginning of 2015. The dates, I got the dates messed up.
Okay. So is it your testimony that you're seeking lost wages for the year that you didn't work because of the incident?
Yes,
Okay. And weren't you paid workers' comp
yes,
monies for a certain time period that you were unemployed?
yes.
What time period was that?
Until I got,
Objection, asked and answered. Go ahead if you answer.
I couldn't give you an exact date, ma'am. I mean, all I know is when the doctor put me on light duty, I quit getting a check from Workman's Comp. So, I mean, it should be in the records. I don't know.
You're aware that you got about $99,000 in indemnity, which is workers' comp benefits for lost wages as a result of the incident?
Objection form.
I didn't know how much it was, you know.
You don't have any reason to dispute that?
I know I got the $40,000 check and a $7,000 check, and then I got the weekly check.
Okay.
And then the loss of hearing check, I think, was $4,000.
All right. Okay. And are you claiming that you can no longer work as a result of the incident?
Pretty much, I don't need to be working. I'm working to keep my roof over my head.
Is that what everyone that works does?
Well, ma'am, right now, see, I don't know how to explain this to you. I work in pain every day,
Okay.
and I'm driving that cab out there, and the whole time I'm in pain.
Okay.
And if it wouldn't be for me, for that accident, I wouldn't be in pain, and I would be doing the work that I enjoy to work.
What's the work that you enjoy?
The construction jobs.
Okay. And that's the jobs that you were doing through the Labor Ready Staffing Company?
Basically, yes.
Has any doctor told you that at this point you're unable to do the construction type work, as you call it?
I don't understand.
Has any medical doctor told you that as of now
Right.
you're unable to work doing construction type work?
Yes.
Is there a restriction placed on you currently?
Yeah, I'm not to be outside under temperature of 50 degrees, and I'm not supposed to lift anything over 15 pounds.
And is that a permanent restriction or for a certain
Well,
time?
It hasn't changed since after I got put on light duty. So I don't know if it's permanent, but man, my body got crushed, and I can't do that work anymore.
Okay. When is the last time a doctor told you you had to be on light duty?
Dr. Soto,
When was the last time a doctor told you that?
it was, I forget the name of the doctor now. It was one of the workman's comp doctors.
Okay. When was the last time that a doctor told you that? Your incident happened in 2013, and
Yeah,
we're
it
now
would've-
in
it would-
2017, which is 4 years later. When is the last time a doctor told you you have to do light duty work?
And it was one of the workman's comp doctors.
When was the last time? In 2013, in 2014, in 2015, or in
2014.
2017?
2014.
Okay. So since 2014, which was 3 years ago,
Right.
has any doctor said, Mr. Koehle, you cannot do construction work or any other type of work?
No.
Okay. So how is it that you know that you can't do construction type work? You just think
You're
so?
not in my body, ma'am.
Okay, so it's what you believe.
I know.
Okay. All right.
Physically, I can't do it.
Okay. And what type of work other than driving a taxi cab have you tried to perform?
I can't even cut the grass anymore.
Have you gone to any job and tried to work and have been unable to do it?
Ma'am, the only thing I can do is work for about 15 to 20 minutes, and I have to take a break and sit down.
Okay. My question is since you were fired from Labor Ready and worked at Snellen, have you done any other type of work with any employer and was unable to do it?
No, I haven't tried.
Okay. And obviously you've been driving a cab since 2015. Are you able to do that job?
Yeah.
Okay. Do you wear prescription glasses?
No.
Do you wear a hearing aid?
No. They won't stay in the ear. I'm supposed to have hearing aids, but they won't stay in my ear.
Who told you you're supposed to have a hearing aid?
The doctor in Alabama,
Which doctors in Alabama?
I don't know his name, man. That was the University of Alabama.
You saw a doctor at the University of Alabama?
Yes, in Birmingham.
When did you see that doctor?
It was right after. It was a specialist, and all I know is the specialist here sent me up there.
Okay.
I had to go up there twice.
Okay. Have you ever suffered, prior to the accident, have you ever suffered from any sort of mental illness?
No.
Have you ever suffered?
Oh, well, I had an anxiety issue when I was in the Army, but there wasn't nothing, just went away.
Since you, when did you come out of the Army?
94.
And after coming out of the Army, how long did you continue to have anxiety issues?
No, this was while I was in the Army.
Okay. So, since you came out of the Army, is it your testimony that you did not have anxiety issues?
Not really, no.
Not really and no are two different
Well,
things.
no, then.
No?
No.
So, you have never, you haven't treated with any doctor for anxiety since you came out of the Army and up until the time of the incident?
I know I've been treated since then, but I don't know if I'd talked to somebody about it before then. I can't remember, ma'am.
Have you received medication since you've been out of the Army and up until the time of the incident for anxiety?
No, I don't think so.
Have you suffered from depression prior to the incident?
Before then, no.
Have you ever received any medication or treatment from any doctor for depression prior to the incident?
No.
Have you suffered from panic attacks prior to the incident?
No.
Have you received any medication or medical treatment for panic attacks prior
No.
to the incident? No?
Mm-mm.
You have to speak out loud.
Oh, no.
Have you suffered from migraine headaches prior to the incident?
No.
Have you received medical treatment or medication for migraine headaches prior to the accident?
No.
One second. Have you suffered from vertigo prior to the accident?
From what?
Vertigo.
I don't even know what that is.
Okay. Do you have a history of fainting
No.
prior to the incident?
No.
Do you have a history of falling prior to the incident?
No.
Do you have a history of losing consciousness prior to the incident?
No.
Have you had a history of seizures prior
No.
to the incident?
No.
Do you have you had a history of hearing loss or hearing issues prior to the incident?
No.
Prior to the incident, did you have back pain?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
Just my lower back.
What was the issue with your lower back?
I guess from the years of doing construction work.
Any doctor ever told you you had issues with the discs in your back?
Yes.
This degenerative disc disease.
Yes.
That term is familiar to
Yeah.
you?
Yeah.
Okay. Did you receive medical treatment for the back pain?
No, they never did nothing for me.
Okay. Have you, prior to the incident, have had issues with neck pain?
Yes.
Tell me about that.
It's just a tank lid fell on my head and messed up one of my neck bones up there. But it comes and goes. I just got used to it over the years.
Okay. When did this tank
When did that
lead
happen?
fall onto your head?
84.
And since that time, you've had issues with your neck as a result?
Yes.
What other injuries did you sustain as a result of that incident?
Oh, just busted my chin. I had like 7 stitches in my chin, but it didn't hurt nothing.
Okay. Did you have any issues with your head or your brain as a result of that injury?
No.
This injury occurred in the Army or where?
Yes.
Or where? Okay. Do you have or did you have complaints of arthritis prior to the incident?
No.
Did you ever injure your arm prior to the incident?
My arm, no.
Was your arm injured in connection with the tank falling onto your head?
No.
Do you still have neck pain and back pain?
Yes.
So is it accurate that to say that you've always had and continue to have back pain and neck pain?
Yes, just gotten worse. That's all.
And when you say gotten worse, tell me about the back. Has your back pain gotten worse?
Yes, since since my body got crushed, that's why I can't work.
Are you saying that somehow your back was injured in the incident?
No, I'm saying it aggravated it.
Did any doctor tell you that?
No, but I can feel it. It's
Okay.
different now.
All right. And then as far as the neck pain, are you saying that your neck pain got worse as a result of the incident?
No, actually, my head pain got worse.
Did your neck pain get worse?
No.
Do you recall your doctors telling you that you also had degenerative disc disease in your neck?
No, they didn't tell me that. I mean, if they did, I don't remember them doing it.
Okay. Have you ever gone to a rehab for alcohol?
Yes.
When?
After the incident, I went to the local one here in town because I really got depressed bad. I don't remember the name of it. It's just on 19th Street out there.
You're able to pass by that location and figure out the name of it?
I forgot the name of it, ma'am. I don't, I'm not trying to hide anything. I just don't remember the name of it.
Yeah. My question is just that you can obtain the name of the facility, correct?
Yes, I could.
Okay. All right. And so when did you check into that rehab?
I don't remember, ma'am. I was, I don't know, 2 years ago.
Did a doctor tell you to go to that rehab or did you voluntarily go there?
I went voluntarily.
Okay. How long were you in there for?
7 days.
And why did you have to go into a rehab if you don't believe you have a problem with alcohol consumption?
Well, I just wanted, get my head on straight.
Okay. Okay. Prior to the incident, have you been involved in any car accidents?
Prior to the incident,
Yes.
I got, I had a little fender bender.
When?
Yes.
When?
No, actually, it was after the incident. I'm sorry. It was after the incident.
Okay. When?
Probably sometime in early 2014.
Did you sustain any injuries?
No.
Did the other vehicles involved? Did any
No,
of the people?
nobody got hurt.
Did any of the people sustain any injuries?
No.
Okay. Prior to the incident, though, have you been involved in any car accidents?
No.
Prior to the incident, have you ever been involved in any slip and falls?
Anyone?
Slip and fall accidents?
No.
Prior to the incident, have you been involved in any incident whatsoever where you've sustained physical injuries?
In the Army, I broke my ankle
Okay. Anything else?
playing soccer.
Anything else?
No, except for when that tank lid hit my head.
Other than those two events, any other situations where you've been injured physically?
No.
Have you suffered any falls since the incident? Okay, prior to the incident.
No.
And since the incident, have you suffered any falls?
Yes.
When?
Ma'am, I couldn't. Can't give you the exact time on that. I'm sorry. I just can't. I mean, that's been a couple of times where I bend over too fast and I just keep right on going.
How many times have you fallen since the incident?
At least a half a dozen.
Have you had to go to the doctor?
No, I didn't get hurt that bad. I just fell.
Okay, so none of the 6 times you've fallen since the incident have you had to go to the doctor?
Not for falling, no.
Okay. And before the incident, you haven't had any episodes where you've fallen?
No.
Before the incident, have you had to undergo any surgeries for any reason?
No.
What about when you broke your ankle?
No, they didn't have to do surgery. They put a cast on it.
Okay. Prior to the incident, have you suffered any injuries that required you to go to a hospital or go to a doctor?
Prior to the incident?
Yes.
No.
Prior to the incident, who were your medical doctors that you received treatment for anything? A cold, a headache?
Between the Army, once I got out of the service, and the time I got checked into the VA system, I didn't have a regular doctor.
Okay. So where would you go if you had a medical issue?
Emergency room.
Which hospital?
Well, I went in Tampa.
Which hospital in Tampa?
The VA hospital in Tampa. They treated me for spider. I got bitten by a brown recluse down there.
Do you know what the name of the hospital in Tampa is?
No, ma'am. It's just a VA hospital in Tampa is all I can tell you.
Okay. And which other emergency room or hospital have you gone to?
I'm trying to think.
Take your time.
Since the incident, I've been to Tampa, Bay Medical a few times. But that's since the incident. Before that, the Atlanta hospital, I went to there once or twice.
Which hospital is that?
The Atlanta VA.
Is the hospital called Atlanta VA, or is it a hospital that the VA
No,
sends you to?
it's only a VA hospital. Only people that get served there are veterans.
Okay, all right. Okay. Prior to the incident, have you gone to any other hospitals?
No, I don't think so.
Okay. And if you were just going to a doctor for a cold, where would you go or who would you see?
I didn't.
Okay. If you went to the doctor for any reason,
Right.
where would you go before the incident?
To the VA hospital. There was always a VA hospital close by.
Okay. Where's the VA? Is there a VA hospital in Panama City?
Well, you have the VA clinic out on Magnolia Beach Road now. They just built a brand new one out there, and they'll send you references or send you the local doctor if they can't help you in there.
Okay. Can you recall any local doctors that you've had to go to because the VA clinic?
Prior to the incident?
Yes.
No.
All right. If you had to fill prescriptions for medication prior to the incident, where would you fill those?
I don't know. I never had to. When I got a prescription, it was always from the VA, and they automatically give them to you.
They would give you the medication?
Yeah, I get my medication in the mail.
Okay. So it's accurate to say you don't have a primary care physician separate and apart from the VA clinic?
Yes, the only doctor I have is my VA doctor.
What's her name or his name?
Oh, well, it was Dr. Soto, but they just changed. He just retired. So whatever his replacement is, that's my new primary doctor.
Okay. All right. I want to actually, what's your current weight?
It's probably around 210.
And at the time of the incident in 2013, do you know approximately how much you weighed?
Well, it's been around 210 since high school, so it's probably around the same thing.
All right. And how tall are you?
6 foot.
Okay. I want to talk about the incident that is the subject of this lawsuit. On November 1, 2013, at what time did you arrive to Port Panama City?
It was right before lunch, so it must have been around 11:30.
And that morning before you got to Port Panama City, what did you do?
I was hanging doors for my landlord.
At home?
Yes.
Prior to going to lunch to work that day at Port Panama City, I think you testified to this earlier, you didn't drink any alcohol.
No.
Okay, and when you got to Port Panama City, what did you do? How did you know where you were going?
Well, I had to check in at the main gate, and I got on the golf cart, came and got me, and took me into the warehouse and told me to go talk to this woman, and she would tell me what to do.
Who is the guy that got you on a golf cart?
I don't know.
You didn't ask him his name?
No, I didn't. I mean, that doesn't work like that. They just, they have like a little shuttle that goes in back and forth to, when they're unloading the ships. And you don't ask, there's no introductions. He said, okay, well, I'm going to take you where you're going to work today.
Okay. Do you know who that guy worked for?
I guess it's Tri-State.
And do you know what he looked like?
He's a white guy, short brown hair, about 6 foot tall. That's all I can tell you.
Okay. And so,
Let's pause for a second.
okay, so we were talking about the day of the incident.
Right.
Okay, and so you indicated that someone from Tri-State picked you up on a golf cart, took you to the warehouse where you would be working. Is that right?
Yes.
Okay, and when you got to the warehouse where you would be working, where was that located?
It was right next to the main dock out there.
Okay, And was there a vessel there that day?
Yes,
Was that vessel being unloaded?
yes.
What was the product being unloaded?
When I got there, it was the copper.
Okay. And when you got to the warehouse, who did you first report to?
To the young woman.
Okay. And what exchange did you have with her?
I just said, hey, and she said, well, all you got to do is go around and pick up these pieces of wood and stick them up if they're laying loose, or place them on top of the copper so the forklift can put on a new stack.
Okay. So your job for that day was to pick up pieces of wood and place them on top of copper bundles for additional copper to be laid on top of them.
Yes, and on the floor for the first bundle would be so the forklift could set them down on them pieces of wood and then pull out. And then they brought them in two at a time, 2 bundles at a time. And then we'd put 2 more pieces of wood under there so the next 2 bundles could be put on them.
Okay. So if you had a layer of copper, how many pieces of wood were placed on top of every
2.
layer of copper?
2.
And was that vertically at each end?
Horizontal, the forklift has to go in like this.
You're
And
right.
so you got to put the pieces like one on this side, one on this side, so the forklift can get in there.
Okay. All right. And did you understand what your job was going to be that day?
Yes.
Okay. Did the lady provide you with any, or did anyone provide you with any equipment, safety equipment?
No, I had my hard hat with me,
Okay.
and that's all I had. Just a hard hat. Had to have a hard hat on, and I had to have safety shoes, and that was my equipment.
Okay. So you had a hard hat and safety shoes from before.
Right.
All right. And that was that from the first time you worked at Port Panama City?
No, that was my personal equipment.
Okay. Who told you that you needed to have a hard hat and safety
Oh, we
shoes?
had they did issue me a safety vest.
Okay. And that's that fluorescent color vest, correct?
Yeah, fluorescent. Yeah.
Right. All right. And so who gave you that vest?
Labor ready.
When did they give you that vest?
When I stopped by the office to get my work ticket.
Okay. Did you have to wear safety goggles or anything else? Any other safety
No, I
equipment?
can't remember. I don't know if they had us have goggles on or not. I don't think so.
Okay. All right. So when you got to the warehouse, how many people were working in that warehouse?
Man, I couldn't tell you an exact number. I know there was 3 of us doing the wood. It was 3 or 4 of us doing the wood.
And what were other people doing?
Well, the forklift drivers were coming in and out. I didn't really pay attention to what other people were doing. I just made sure I was doing what I was supposed to be doing.
Okay. And the lady that gave you the instructions, what was she doing
She was basically doing the same thing.
with the wood?
Yes, ma'am.
Did anyone prior to you beginning your work for that day give you any safety instructions?
Not on that day, no.
Did you obtain safety instructions on any other day?
The first time I went to port, they had a safety meeting that morning. But when I got there on the day of the accident, there was no safety meeting or anything. He just took me into the warehouse and said, go to work.
Okay. And that's because you got to the port late after lunchtime?
Yeah, that's because they didn't call me till like 10:30 or 11 o'clock to come in.
And based on your prior experience working at the port with Tri-State, you are aware that safety meetings are conducted in the morning, usually before the work begins.
Yeah, I mean, that was my second time.
Okay, so the first time you went, there was a safety meeting in the
Right.
morning, correct?
Right,
And that's when everyone signs in as well for the day, correct?
right,
Okay. And that's done early in the morning before work begins.
I guess.
Okay. Well, you say you guess. When
I
you
don't know, ma'am. I only worked there 2 days.
Okay, so the first day you worked there, before you started any work, you participated in a safety meeting,
Yes.
correct? And what time was that?
We got there like 7 o'clock.
Okay. Did anyone tell you the proper way to lay the wood? In connection with the copper bundles.
Well, I mean, the young woman put the pallet right beside the thing and told me to start stacking the extra pieces of wood on the pallet right there. I didn't place the pallet there, she did.
Okay. And did anyone tell you not to put your body in between the piles of wood and the copper bundles?
No.
Did you have any questions about how to lay the pieces of wood for the copper to be placed on top of them?
No.
At any point in time during the time that you started working around 11:30 until the time of your accident, did anyone tell you that you weren't doing your job properly?
No.
Did anyone other than the woman you described give you instruction as to how to do the job?
No.
Did Labor Ready tell you how to do the job?
No.
Do you recall if the woman that you got your instructions from was named Donna Galbraith?
I mean, I don't know. I mean, I don't know what her name was.
Okay. And do you recall Donna telling you not to place your body in between the copper bundles and the wood?
No.
What time did the accident happen?
I think it was between 2:30 and 3 o'clock.
Okay. So as you would lay the pieces of wood on the bundles of copper, what would happen next? How would the copper then get on top of that piece of, or those pieces of wood for you to then put new pieces of wood?
I don't understand the question.
Laying the pieces of wood on top of copper bundles, that
Right.
was an ongoing thing throughout the day, correct?
Right.
Okay. How did new copper get into the warehouse?
On forklifts.
Who would bring them in on a forklift?
Whoever was driving it, there was 3 or 4 of them running back and forth.
Okay. And so when the forklift came and placed the copper that they got from the vessel, where would you be located?
I'd be in the yard trying to stay out of their way.
In
In the
sa-
warehouse.
Okay. Did anyone tell you you needed to come out of the forklift's way when it was putting the copper on top of the bundles?
I was told, watch your back, because them forklift drivers are crazy.
Who told you that?
That little woman,
What else did the little woman tell you?
watch out for the forklifts. I mean, that's basically it.
Okay. And about how many pieces of, you testify that is 2 pieces of wood per bundle, correct? Or
Yes.
per bundle of copper.
Right.
About how many sets of wood, and by set I mean 2 pieces, would you say you placed on copper bundles between the time you got to the port and the time your accident happened?
Ooh, I don't know, man. I can't give you a number.
Was it 1?
No, it was a bunch more than that. I mean, it's probably 20 to 50. I don't know.
Okay. I'm trying to figure out how many times you did the task of placing the wood, getting out of the way, placing the wood,
I
getting out of
understand,
the
but
way.
the exact count I can't give you.
Okay, but you said approximately 20 to 50
Yeah.
times. And immediately prior to the incident happening, what's the last thing you recall doing?
Bending over to get a piece of wood, and then the copper just went slam, and that was it. Next thing I know, I'm on the concrete floor.
Where were you bending down to get a piece of
Well,
wood?
the copper was stacked over here, and the pallet of wood was over here, and I bent over. There was a piece of wood right in between them. I bent over to pick it up, and when I get back up, the copper's coming down.
Okay, I want to get a visual of what you're saying. A blank sheet of paper would be better. Okay. So can you
Here, I'll show
make
you.
a diagram of where the pallet was, where the copper was, and where you bent down to get the
Okay. Yeah, I can do that.
the wood?
This is the copper right here.
Can you just write copper?
This over here is the wood, pallet of wood. And I'm standing right here. When I bent over, and this came down and squished me between this and that.
Okay, you're very artistic. Okay, I'll just mark that for identification to this depot as Exhibit 1. Okay, so it's your testimony that there was a bundle of copper, a pallet which contained pieces of wood, and you were bending down in between
Right.
both to obtain a piece of wood.
Yes. There was a
Okay.
piece of wood laying there.
Okay. Why was the piece of wood laying there
Well,
as opposed to on the pallet of wood?
Because probably he fell off whenever because some of them, the bundles come in with pieces of wood on top of them from getting unloaded in the ship. So when they come in, and the forklift driver, puts them in its place, then the wood will fall off of them, and that was my job to pick them up and put them on that pallet so that they're not in the way or nobody trips over them or something like that.
You've made it clear for us. Okay. How big a space would you say was between the copper bundle and the pallet of wood?
I'd say at least 3 to 4 feet.
All right. And so you bent down to retrieve the piece of wood. Did you actually grab the piece of wood prior to your incident and was getting up, or how did it, tell me exactly what happened?
I bent over, I grabbed the wood, and when I went to get back up, the copper was falling down on me.
Okay. Do you know if your body bounced the copper bundle?
I never touched the copper.
Bounced or hit?
I never touched the copper.
Okay. And is it accurate to say that the bundle of copper was on your left side?
Yes.
Okay. before you bent down to retrieve the piece of wood that you were trying to take up, did you see anything about the stack of copper that would alert you to the fact that it would fall over on top of you?
Well, it was leaning a little bit, but it'd been doing like that for 2.5 hours. So, you know, I didn't think anything of it.
Was this stack of copper that you were beside,
Right.
was that at its max height? I'm not sure how to
Yeah,
Was there going to be any more copper placed on top of that bundle?
no,
So that bundle was complete?
yes.
How would you know, or I guess how would the forklift driver, if you know when a bundle is complete?
Because that way they were stacking all the other ones.
So the height was equal?
Yes.
Okay. And so do you recall when the last bundle of copper was placed on the stack that fell over on top of you?
Before lunch.
Okay. So this bundle was in the same state before you got there?
No, it was before, I got there before lunch.
Okay, fair enough. Okay. So the stack of copper that fell over on top of you
Right.
was in the same state for approximately how many hours before your incident?
Well, like I said, before lunch, we lunch is at 12 there. So then from when we got back at 1 until 2:30 or 3, whenever it fell on me.
Okay, so that's why you said it was in the same state for 2.5 hours.
Yeah, basically.
Okay. Prior to your incident happening, did anyone that was working in the warehouse with you tell you, watch out, this stack of copper is gonna fall over on you?
No,
Did you have any reason to believe prior to your incident that it would fall over on top of you?
no,
Did anyone from Tri-State or anyone at the port working in that warehouse have any knowledge that this stack of copper would have fallen over on top of you?
no.
Objection for my question.
For the time that you were working in that warehouse prior to the incident, were there many stacks of copper that was at the maximum height sitting there in the warehouse?
Yes,
Did you see any other bundles of copper fall over onto anyone or anything prior to your accident happening?
no,
Did anyone in the warehouse that you were working with or working for tell you that these bundles of copper tend to fall over?
no.
Do you know what caused the bundle of copper to fall over on top of you as you were bending down to get the piece of wood?
The only thing I can figure is the vibration from the forklifts running back and forth wide open. Just the vibrations of the ground might have caused it. I don't know. That's the only conclusion I can come to.
But you don't know that for a fact.
No,
And the forklifts were going in and out of the warehouse around all the copper bundles throughout the day.
yeah,
Since the incident, have you come to realize what caused the copper bundle to fall over on top of you?
I don't know, man. I really don't.
Do you know how high the maximum height of the copper bundle was for that warehouse?
I mean, I can take a guess. They're in about. Uh, I mean, they're banded in about like that, and then if you have two of them, they're about like that, and then if you add two more on top of that, so you got to figure it between 5 and 6 foot.
And how high was the pallet containing wood?
Oh Lord, I can't. I don't know. I can't tell you that. I mean, it was. I had it built stacked up about like that. You know, if it wouldn't have been there like that, I wouldn't be here talking to you.
So if you say the stack of copper was about 5 to 6 feet
Right.
high, was the pallet of wood that high as well, or?
No. It was only about somewhere about like that. I mean, I don't remember the exact height, man. That's just, a guess. You know.
Would that be 2 feet, 3 feet, 4 feet?
No, it's going to be maybe 2 feet, 2.5 feet, something like that.
Okay. All right. So you bent down to get the piece of wood, and then what happened?
When I went to stand back up, I felt something hit me hard on this shoulder, and it just took me down. And the next thing I know, I'm laying in the concrete floor. I guess they had pulled all the copper off of me with forklifts.
Okay. And so you said something hit this shoulder. Which shoulder?
The left shoulder. Well, I mean, it was, all I know is something hit me right there and just took me down.
Okay. Did you feel anything hit your head?
I had a hard hat on. I mean, it all happened so quick, I don't know. I can't tell you an answer to that.
Did you hit any other body part?
Well, I know my hard hat was about that big whenever they pulled me out, and this side here hit the pallet of wood.
And is that your right side?
Yes.
What type of hard hat did you have? Do you know the brand or the make?
No, not the brand or the make. It's just the one of them large rim hard hats. It has big rim around them all the way around.
Where can you buy that?
Excuse me?
Where can you purchase one?
Oh, you can get them at Home Depot. You can get them anywhere.
Okay. Is there a difference with a large rim hard hat and a small rim hard hat?
I don't know if there's a scientific difference, but all I know is they're considered hard hats.
Okay. And so you got hit. Did you lose consciousness?
Evidently, I got knocked out for a minute because all I know is when I went down, I was out. The next thing I know, I wake up and I'm laying, on my back on the concrete. Okay. And evidently they said that took 4 forklifts to get all the copper off of me.
Okay. Where was your hard hat?
It was somewhere in that pile of stuff over there, and I saw it. And it was about it used to be about that wide, and it ended up being about that wide, along with my ear, which was in the pallet of wood.
Okay. So was your hard hat on your head, or where was on the floor? Where was the hard hat?
It wasn't on my head.
Not
when I woke up on the concrete, it wasn't. When I bent over, yes, it was on my head. Thank God. But when they laid me down on the concrete, I didn't have it on. I just happened to glance over and see it.
And where did you see it?
And somewhere in this area right here.
So in between where your body was?
Yeah, well, they pulled me out of there. When this was leaning over here, they had me laying over here. And my hard hat was over here, I think over here somewhere.
Okay. And did you observe the hard hat on the floor, or was it in between the wood and the copper?
I don't know, ma'am. I can't tell you that. I wasn't really worried about the hard hat.
Okay. And so you said then that when you were laying on your back, what was happening then?
A bunch of supervisors were standing around looking at me and said, wow, this guy's messed up.
Which
And I looked up, huh?
Which supervisors?
Well, I guess all of the supervisors came running over there from outside and everything else. I don't know. They didn't know how to do emergency aid, nothing. I was sitting there bleeding like a stuck hog and told them, look, I need something to stop the bleeding. So they gave me a roll of paper towels or something. And I told them they needed to treat me for shock, get me a blanket, elevate my feet, and all that. You know, they was like just looking at me like, dang.
Okay, so you were able to tell them all these things, to elevate your feet, to get you paper towel, and to stop the bleeding.
Yeah, well, I did all that.
You were able to tell all the people around you that.
Well,
correct?
I just told somebody, y'all need to treat me for shock.
Okay. All right. And you also told them to elevate your feet.
Yes.
Okay. And these individuals that were around, were they employees of Tri-State?
I don't know who they were, ma'am. All I know is there was about 5 or 6 of them standing there just staring at me, watching me bleed.
Okay. And so none of these individuals did anything for you?
No.
Okay. They didn't offer you any help?
No, I told them, I had to tell them, look, I need something to put direct pressure on this. My nose is broke over here, my eyes are bleeding, I can't see. You know, and you know, they went and got a golf cart and propped my feet up on a golf cart.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know what blanket or what they gave me. I don't know, because they said, well, the ambulance is at the gate and be here in a minute. And then next thing I know, I'm in the ambulance and they're going down the road.
Okay. So you were conscious you woke up, or from the point that you were on your back?
Right.
All right. Did anyone witness your incident? Like,
I
were
don't
there
know.
any eyewitnesses?
I don't know.
Has anyone told you they witnessed it?
No.
Where did you feel pain immediately after the incident?
I could, ma'am, I can't answer that.
Okay. Which hospital were you transported to?
Bay Medical.
Do you know of any similar incidents where a bundle of copper has fallen over onto someone at Port Panama City?
I can't answer that either, because I don't know.
You don't know?
I don't know.
And obviously, you don't know of any instances where a stack of copper has fallen over onto an individual in Tri-State's operation at Port Panama City.
No, I don't know.
Okay. What injuries did you sustain as a result of this incident?
Besides the obvious, I had a broken nose.
No, I need to know the obvious. Nothing's obvious.
Excuse me?
I need to know the obvious as well. So tell me all the injuries that
my right ear.
that you sustained as a result of the accident.
Okay. My right ear was torn off.
Okay.
My left shoulder rotor cuff injury.
Left shoulder what?
my left shoulder, I ended up having to get shoulder cup, rotor cup surgery in it. On this
Rotator cuff.
rotator cuff or whatever.
Okay.
My nose was broken, and I had a major slash above my eye, right eye. And also my wrist was pretty messed up, but it didn't break it.
When you say wrist was messed up, which wrist and how was it messed up?
Well, it was all, I don't know. All I know, it had a big wrap on it the next day, but I guess it didn't break it. It must have just sprained the heck out of it or something.
Okay. Any other injuries as a result of the incident?
Eye, nose, shoulder, and ear. No, I think that's it.
Okay. With respect to your ear, what treatment did you receive for it?
My ear?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the plastic surgeon had to sew it up. And my old ear, the original ear was the way it was torn off. He couldn't replace it. So he said, they had to fix. He had to fix my nose.
Oh wow.
He had to reset my nose. I think he did something in there too, and then he had to stitch up my eye because my eye was pretty gashed up.
All right, I want to take it one by one so it's not confusing. So as to the ear, you said the plastic surgeon stitched it up.
Right.
Did you receive any other treatment for your ear?
Treatment? No.
Okay. At this time, did any doctor tell you you need to have any future treatment for your ear?
Well, they told me it was the concussion in my ear was so bad that there was nothing they could do for it. He said it was the worst inner ear concussion that he'd ever seen.
So at this point, do you have any recommendation for any future care for your ear?
Looking at when he was in the hospital, or
No.
what time frame? Pretty much today.
Yeah.
I mean, they told me there's nothing they could do.
Okay. So other than the ear being physically gone, do you have any other problems with your right ear?
I have a constant ringing.
And anything else?
Pain.
What type of pain?
Like my whole side of this ear is just stretched to the max. And then, I mean, it hurts. That's what the gabapentin's for.
Okay. Do you have any problems hearing?
Yes, I've lost 28% of my hearing in that.
And you said you don't have a hearing aid. Why?
No, because the ones they have won't stay in there. And they're like $2,000 a piece, and I can't keep buying $2,000 hearing pieces.
Has any doctor given you any other alternative for a hearing aid that will fit in your ear?
No.
All right. So as of today, you have no recommendation for any further care to the ear.
I don't. I'm not a doctor. I mean, if they came up with something new, I'd love them to do it. Get rid of the ringing in there. I'd love to get rid of my ringing.
Okay. All right. With respect to your left shoulder, what treatment did you receive?
Well, you had to do surgery in there. I don't know what the cause of surgery, but it's rotor cuff surgery.
And when did you do that surgery?
Oh, I guess it was about 5 or 6 months after that accident, something like that.
And did you undergo physical?
Excuse me.
Did you undergo physical therapy as well?
Yes.
Before the surgery?
No,
Or
after the surgery.
Okay. And did you undergo any other treatment for the left shoulder?
No, just physical therapy
And
and
surgery.
then surgery.
Okay. So at this time, have you completed treating for the surgery?
Yes.
Okay. Has any doctor told you you need any future care for the left shoulder?
No,
And is your left shoulder pain resolved?
no.
What problems do you currently have with the left shoulder?
Well, it's just I've got to be careful how I use it because the strength's not there anymore.
What do you mean by the strength isn't there?
The lifting ability.
What can you or can you not lift?
Well, if I make myself, I can lift up to 50 pounds, but I try not to do it.
And have you told your doctor that
Yes,
strength is not there in your shoulder?
yes.
And what have they said?
Well, the VA said there's not much they can do about that either.
Okay. All right. As to the nose that you said was broken, did you undergo surgery for your nose?
Dr. Nunnery fixed it. He's the one that reset it. So, you know, if he had to do surgery, I don't know, because they put me under and stitched up my ear and did my nose all at the same time.
Okay. And so other than the nose being reset, do you have any issues currently with your nose?
No,
So no current treatment for your nose
no,
and no treatment recommended in the future.
no.
Okay, you also said you had a slash on your right eye. What did you have there?
Well, I guess a piece of wood cut a good gash in it because it was bleeding so bad I couldn't see out of that eye. But Dr. Nunnery, once again, he fixed all that at the same time.
Did you have to get stitches?
I really don't know because my head was bandaged up and it all came off at the same time. I guess I had stitches up there, but he did a heck of a job.
Okay. And you don't have a scar?
Well, if I do, you can't see it.
Is there a visible scar on your right eye?
I don't think so. I don't know. I can't tell because it was right in the eyebrow.
Okay.
And I think the hair's just grown right over if there is one.
Okay. And so you have no current issues with your right eye?
No.
Correct? All right. And then you said your right wrist, you believe, was also injured. What treatment did you get for the right wrist?
They just bandaged it up. It was bandaged up for about 4 or 5 days, and then he said it was okay. It was just I had a pretty good gash on it too, but they just kept it bandaged up for while I was in the hospital, and then after that they said it was cool, okay.
And you don't have any current issues with your right wrist, correct?
No.
All right. Are there any other injuries that you believe you sustained as a result of the incident?
No, I think that's it.
Are you claiming that you're not claiming that you injured your back as a result of the incident, are you?
No.
And you're not claiming that you injured your neck as a result of the incident?
No.
Are you claiming that you suffered a brain injury as a result of the incident?
I don't know.
Has any doctor told you you suffered a brain injury as a result
Well,
of the
I've had
incident?
My migraines, all I know is my headache issues really become a problem since the accident. So I don't know if there's any brain injuries in there or not, but the MRIs are coming up clean.
Okay. What are these headaches do you believe that you just started getting headaches as a result of the incident?
Yes, because they're all right here where I got squished at. They never changes. They're right there.
And it's your testimony that those headaches started after the incident?
Yes.
And you didn't have headaches before your incident?
Very rarely. Very rarely.
Okay. All right. Um, do you believe you've suffered any mental or emotional issues as a result of the incident?
Well, I mean, it's depressed me because I can't do the work I was used to doing, and it's now I'm driving a cab. I'm sitting at the airport doing nothing half of the time that I'm out there. When I could go do 8 hours in a day and make more money. Now I have to sit 12 to 14 hours a day, and it's very frustrating. And so that's
All right.
I just yes, I'm depressed about it, and I'm frustrated with it.
Have you seen any doctor for what you believe to be depression as a result of the incident?
Yes,
When?
the VA.
Okay. Are you seeing a doctor now for?
Yeah, but they just
depression?
changed doctors, so don't ask me her name. Her name used to be Pender or something like that, but it's a new doctor. He just started. I just saw him about 2 months ago.
And has that doctor prescribed you any medication?
Well, yes, I told you he one little pill for the depression.
Okay. That's the Zoloft.
Yeah,
Is that doctor a psychologist or a psychiatrist?
I think he's a psychiatrist.
Are you seeing a psychologist?
No, that's the only mental health person I'm seeing.
Okay. When is the last time you saw a doctor for any reason connected to the incident?
When I complained about my headaches, and that's been about 3 months ago, because they were getting so bad I couldn't hardly see straight.
Okay. And what did the doctor give you or do for you that day?
He put me on some kind of different medication. I forgot to mention that earlier. I don't know the name. I didn't know I needed to bring my medicines with me, but it's supposed to be strictly for headaches.
Okay.
None of them's nothing narcotic yet.
Okay. So the last time you saw a doctor in connection with anything related to the incident was 3 months ago?
Yeah.
Do you have any recommendation for any other surgeries by any doctor?
Right now, no.
Since the incident, have you been involved in any accidents?
No.
Didn't you have an incident after your incident where you fell in your house and cut your shoulder and your head?
Did I?
You don't recall that?
I really don't remember. I fell in my house.
Do you recall falling at any point in time after the incident?
Well, I fell a few times. Oh, I remember what you're talking about. That's when I was bending over at my sister's house. Yeah, I remember that now.
And what happened?
I just bent over and kept right on going.
Okay. And do you recall falling any other time after that?
Well, I mean, like I said, there's been a few times that I fell, but the exact date and time, I can't give it to you.
Okay. And have you had to go to the doctor as a result of those falls?
No, I just doctored it up at home.
Okay. What are there any limitations that you believe you have that you didn't have before the incident?
Yes, I can't do a bunch of bending. Can't climb ladders. I can't live. I'm not supposed to lift more than 15 pounds.
More than 15?
That's the last advice I got from a doctor. Said try not to lift more than 15 pounds.
Okay.
And no bending, no climbing. And I don't have the strength in my body like I used to. I don't know. It just did something to my body when my body got crushed. I don't know.
Anything else?
No, that's about it.
Have you incurred any expenses as a result of the incident?
Well,
Personally?
I mean, I drive to Birmingham twice, which the workman's comp did pay a little bit for the mileage, but they didn't pay for my motel rooms. And I had to go to Dothan a couple of times.
Go to where?
Dothan, Alabama, Birmingham, Alabama. I don't know how many trips I had to go to Destin. So those were all out of the pocket expenses.
And about how much money do you think you had to pay driving to Birmingham and Destin and paying for motels?
I mean, altogether, I'd say between $600 and $900, something like that.
And how much of that do you think the workers' comp covered?
Probably about half. Excuse me.
So if they paid about half and you spent about 900,
Right.
you're out of pocket about 450.
Yeah, that's a rough
Give or take.
guess.
Okay. Have you had to incur any other expenses, medical bills, anything else as a result of the incident?
No, because I'm in the VA system.
Okay.
If I wouldn't be in the VA, yes, I would have.
Okay. All right. I'm going to show you what we'll mark as Exhibit 2. Can you take a look at that and tell me if you recognize that document?
Well, I can't read for crap without my reading glasses. What does that say, Jay? Because I can't read. I didn't bring my glasses.
Do you recognize the document? Can you not see it at all?
Oh, this is the labor-rated work ticket.
Okay.
Yeah.
And did you receive a copy? Obviously not exactly what you're looking at right now, but did you is that the document that you received when you went to the Labor Ready office on November 1, 2013?
Yeah, I guess. I mean, yeah, it looks like it.
Okay. And what did Labor Ready tell you to do with that work ticket that you got?
Turn it into the people at the port.
Okay. And who did you turn in that work ticket to on the day of your accident?
Excuse me?
Who did you turn in that work ticket to on the day of your accident?
The guy that picked me up in the golf cart.
Okay. Did you have to sign that work ticket at any point during the day that you worked?
No, not until you don't sign them until you turn it in.
Okay. And so when you, obviously not on the day of the incident because your accident happened,
Right.
but on the prior occasion that you worked at Port Panama with Tri-State, when did you then get back a copy of the work ticket?
At the end of the day.
Okay. And who gave you back the work ticket?
I don't know. The guy would come out with everybody's ticket that was working out at the port that worked for Labor Ready, and he just got them to one of us, and they'd all, just, you know, whoever he handed them to. It wasn't like he called out names. He just handed it to one of the Labor Ready guys, and then they'd hand them out to everybody.
And did you ever read it to see what was on it, or did you just take it and
I
give
was
it?
just glad to go to work.
Okay. So when you took back the document, the work ticket, what did you do with it?
I took it back to that day I didn't do nothing with it.
Right.
But
The first
prior
time.
occasions, you take it back to the desk, turn it in, and then they would print you out a sheet and you sign so you can get your check, saying that you actually received your check for that day.
Okay. All right. So the document that you signed is something that Labor Ready asked you to sign
At the end of the day.
to prove that you went to work and came back that day.
Right,
And that's how you then got paid.
right.
All right. I'm going to show you what we'll mark as Exhibit 3. Just take a look at this document and tell me if you recognize it.
It says plaintiff's notice of serving answers to defendants' first interrogatories. If you can't read,
Okay, yeah,
are you going to be able to see the answers to these or not?
okay.
Are you going to be able to read the answers to these or
No, I'm not gonna be able, not without my glasses. I meant to bring them, I forgot all about it.
All right. Well, so it's not going to be any good for him to look at them right now, but if you want to ask a question, and then we'll
Okay. So
see where we go.
can you look at that document, sir, and tell me if on the last page you recognize your signature?
Yeah, that's me.
Okay. And so on page 13 of that document, it says, I swear that the answers to my interrogatories are true and correct. And then it says Michael Koehle. Is that your signature where it says
Yes.
Michael Koehle?
Yes.
All right, and then I'm going to show you what we'll mark as Exhibit 4. And just take a look. Take a look at that document and tell me. Oh, this one's not signed. If you recognize it.
It says plaintiff's notice of serving supplemental answers to defendants' first interrogatories.
You can't see that?
I mean, I
Wait until there's a question.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. I forgot my glasses, and I didn't do it on purpose. I can't read.
What do you use glasses for?
Just reading,
Just to read?
yes. And that's only happened since the incident.
Since your incident, you needed glasses?
Yeah, I started having to get the little, you know, cheap reading glasses that you get at the Walgreens or CVS.
Did a doctor prescribe glasses for you
No.
since the incident?
No.
Okay. I believe I am done.
At one point, you were asked the question about every time you had ever been injured prior to the injury that's the subject of the lawsuit.
Right.
And you talked about being hit in the back of the head with a lid of a tank that
Right.
caused you to bust your chin, right?
Right.
I think you talked about breaking your ankle when you were in the Army.
Yeah, that was when we were doing physical exercises.
Right. So you're not saying those are the only two times in your life you had ever been hurt.
No, no.
You worked construction, right? You might
Right.
hit your hammer with a thumb, or
shoot.
there's 1,000 ways you could be hurt, right?
Yeah, well, you ought to see the scars on me. You know?
Okay, but those are the significant
Right.
injuries
Right.
that stick out in your mind.
Yeah.
Okay,
yeah.
you're not swearing those are the only two times
No, no, I mean-
you ever hurt yourself.
Right.
Okay. You've said a couple times that early on a doctor restricted you for light duty, which you've defined as lifting not more than 15 pounds. Is that right?
Right.
In your work as a cab driver, do you have to lift more than 15 pounds?
Yes. When I get the baggage, you know, sometimes them bags weigh 25, 30 pounds.
All right. And you've said you have to lift as much as 50 pounds sometimes?
Sometimes, yes.
It's hard, but you try not to do it.
Exactly.
Go on.
I couldn't do it continuously.
The pallet of wood in the warehouse that you were knocked into by the column, you were asked about how tall it was. Did the height of that pallet of wood change any during the day?
Yes. Continuously as we used it or as we put pieces of wood on it. So, I mean, it would, 1 minute it'd be down here, and, you know, 10 minutes later it could be up here.
But it looks like those were ranging in between, say, 1.5 feet and 3.5 feet.
Right.
Okay. I don't have any more questions.